Welcome back. We are here. It is Saturday night, Gala night at Phoenix Fall Festival 2024. I am here with Shane and Shannon Jensen, and I have to say, I am a huge fan. They are just an absolute champion-level couple, and I'm going to stop fangirling, but congratulations on everything tonight. You guys were absolutely stunning as always. How does it feel to always be just performing at this level?
We're just grateful, honestly. Like, I don't think that you can just, ever get to a place where you expect everything to work. I mean, we hold ourselves to the highest standards we can to make sure that we know everything we have to do, but there's always that chance. So we're just grateful, and the audience was fantastic tonight and had such a good response. And the other performers are amazing. I know, like, the Tahitian dancing group gave me this. They're so sweet.
You're already like, we're integrating the styles. It's so great. Every time I see you guys perform, whether it be live, which is always a treat, or on a video where my dad and I are just eating up every single move that you guys are doing, you have the audience in the palm of your hands. We don't know what you're going to do next. It is just exhilarating. It's like a ride to be on with you guys. How do you continually reinvent? First of all, how long have you been doing this?
We've been dancing together for about 15 years now. And as far as how do we continually kind of reinvent, when we do our choreography with our coach.
You do, or with coaches?
In tandem with our coach in Utah. His name is Kurt Holman. He's actually currently the director of the BYU Ballroom program. And so he does our choreography for our cabarets with us. And it's very collaborative. And we always try to come up with something that is interesting from a spectator's point of view and that is fun to dance. So we enjoy doing it. It feels interesting to us. And always trying to reinvent it in a little bit. There's certain lifts you're always going to kind of keep as your signature. We always do this.
And we expect that from you. Thank you.
Thank you. But we always try to tweak it even still a little bit so it's not the same lift in every single routine. So, for example, the splits. We try to find a different variation on how we can hold her when I go down into the splits in each routine. So just experimenting, exploring, and having fun with it.
I mean, as Rado said tonight when he introduced you, you're defying gravity, right? That's what it really feels like when you do this move where she's out in front, right? And you're rotating with her and she's just presenting. You do it at the end of your bow as well. And then when you start your second number and she's just like mid-air with this, I mean, there are certain things that, like I said, that do you just try a bunch of things and you have a bunch of mats in case you fall? Like, how does this, I want to know the brainstorm process here.
So we have an awesome team of coaches. So we have Kurt, who is definitely allows us to kind of be ourselves, I would say. And he's just very creative. We have our coach, Marianne Nicole, who makes it all work.
She's been our coach from day one professionally.
Yeah. And then we have Bruno Collins, who's done a ton for us. Pretty much anything scary, death-defying, crazy, that float.
He's the fun one.
Yeah, it's from Bruno, absolutely. Michael Chapman's worked with us before, making things grand.
So
Tommy Giacchino. We really owe a lot of thank yous to a lot of people, to be honest.
You mentioned Tommy because my next question was going to be, you do something like this. You obviously are inspired by past cabaret. You have to make a choice to really be a cabaret couple. I mean, this takes a lot of athleticism to continually be lifting her in these ways and throwing her in the air. This is not, I mean, if something goes wrong, it's not the same as if you trip on a dress and you fall on your knees, And so to keep up this level of athleticism for 15 years, seeing who came before you, as in, because I was a huge fan always of Tommy and Gregory when they did their splits as well. Who do you look up to, and how has that influenced your, what you do?
Honestly, every coach that we just listed, and there's a few others that maybe don't really, that aren't really part of the business anymore, that we've never had the opportunity to work with. Like any of those coaches that I just listed, we've watched numerous times and have been inspired by. And I remember actually even some of them when I was young watching the PBS special Ohio Star Ball and just watching it over and over and over until back then wore out the VHS tape. So, yeah.
I think that the past champions of any style kind of inspire those that are coming up behind them to try and be better, right? So that would be, I think, what we've kind of pulled from each couple that we've looked at in videos or have learned from, is we take what they have to offer, learn from it, and then try to build upon it. I don't want to ever try and say that we came up with anything on our own. I think most lifts have all been done by now. I don't think there's much that's new, but how can you reinvent it just a little bit to make it fresh again?
I think that's it, and I think you're right. We've seen a lot of things, especially if you're in, my husband, my dad, and I, we watch things all the time. America's Got Talent, all these different things, and you're just like, we've seen it. It's been done. It's very hard to surprise people, and I think that's why I have become such a big fan of you guys over the years, is because even if there are, like you said, some signature moves, some things that you're like, oh, I've seen that, or wow, they did that. So they executed that so beautifully. I love your transitions. I think that's a big thing. Transitions are a huge part in cabaret, but you are constantly, there's always at least 2 or 3 moments in your routines where I'm like, oh, okay, I was not ready for that. Like it's just so cool. And I think that is something that I can tell that is very intentionally executed, that you are trying to be like, we want to surprise people in this moment. Right?
Absolutely. I think the big thing is we try to let the music tell us what to do. I think sometimes couples kind of get a little overwhelmed with showing what they can do physically to be impressive, and they
choreographing versus letting the music guide them.
You don't want to be outdone by the song, right? And so to be able to pair that with what you do, I think is such a beautiful combination.
Yeah, we learned a long time ago when we were new in the category. We kind of, walked into it and we're like, okay, well, this couple is such a good dancer. We need to be the best dancers. And then another couple we'd see and be like, oh my gosh, everything they do is so death-defying. We've really got to be the best lifters. And then finally one day we realized we just have to be the best of both. So I think that it's very easy to get...
Easier said than done, right? I mean, geez.
Yeah, so I'm not...
No big deal.
I'm not saying we are necessarily, but that's what we strive to be, is the best dancers and the best lifters, because I think you have to be, for this category, aerial dancing, not just aerialists and not just dancers. So I think that that's what sets this category apart and makes it so unique, is that combination of the two. So.
I think that goal of trying to be the best dancers and trying to be the best lifters and trying to marry the two together is kind of what we've made our goal to continually progress, especially, we've been blessed enough to be the champions for a while now.
How many times, by the way?
Well, 9 times U.S.
9 times U.S. We're just going to throw it in there.
But to try and keep pushing to be better, that's kind of how we continually feel driven. And we don't just look forward. We do look at those that are behind us and try to learn from them as well, because they've got something new and fresh to offer also. So we feel very lucky.
So you need to keep motivated, because, year after year after year, 9, 10, 11, how many is enough? You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, I'm sure you're not doing it for the award. You're doing it just because you love to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I fell in love with cabaret long time ago. My parents actually did cabaret just at an amateur level, but I remember watching rehearsals of my dad's and stuff, and just kind of being drawn to it. But originally we started together in the Latin, when our heart was really in the Latin together first. So we also compete in now other styles like the American rhythm and the smooth.
I don't know how you have the energy to do it all, but God bless you.
Well, I think it's more about focused practice than it is about hours of practice. So we've learned that over the years. But for us, we have not just goals in this, but goals in that. And we do feel that the different styles are cohesive and support each other. So when one gets better, they all get better. So, yeah.
You mentioned athleticism earlier. As far as the athleticism, I would, for cabaret, it's just one dance. We get told many times, oh, it's just one dance, you're going to be great, right? I would rather do 4 rounds of the rhythm than one cabaret, because it's very physically exhausting, but like she said, all the elements still tie together. So how you move your body, all these things are now still happening the same way as the rhythm or the smooth, just now vertically instead of horizontally.
But that's also why I think your transitions are so, because I've really watched you guys and like studied what you guys do, and I think because you do some of those other styles, like you said, it is important not only to be good athletic aerialists but dancers as well, because you see again on a lot of those shows where it's just pose, lift, right, and then there is nothing happening in the middle. It's just going from one side of the room to the other. And so by having that streamline to have that transition to create that story, right? I think, and the music, like you said, is guiding you. There's so many elements that you're really incorporating into this. And I think that you're really hitting all the nails on the head here, and that's why I think you're right. But I think it's very clear that is why the success is happening, is because you really are focusing with intention to make sure that there is a through line to everything that you're doing.
Well, I know also this category, as you mentioned before, like you can't really just throw this together the week before. No. So there's not as many people always in it, but just because I think exactly it takes more time to prepare. But the mental side of it, I think, is much more tough than the physicality of it. Yeah. So I just have the most respect for all of our competitors, because I know how hard it is to go out there and know that, like, okay, if I do a cha-cha and I mess up, probably nobody will see it, and I don't have to be with one specific place in the music. I can hold a little longer, get back on, whatever.
But, you know what?
But this doesn't work that way.
Is different, but it's still intense for the multi-dance events as well, right? So in this case, there's that danger factor, like she's saying, and you're the only one on the floor, so everyone's going to see if you mess up. Yes. But in the other styles, you're just hoping you even get seen sometimes, right? Because there's so many couples on the floor. And, we're not ashamed to say that we speak with a sports psychologist to kind of teach us how to keep your brain focused and keep your mentality really in it. I would honestly suggest to a lot of people that it's very helpful. It's not about being, psycho or you need therapy kind of stuff.
Yeah, I come from the generation where, like, you want people to say, like, this is my therapist. Like, I do therapy because it's very important. I think it's important for people to understand that, like, you should always be we maintain our nutrition and all these other things. It's like, why are we not maintaining our minds?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And I think dancers make that mistake too. They just work their body and they don't work their brain or focus on their emotions and stuff, and then their performance is dry. So.
And there's that whole concept of mind over matter, right? And that's not something new. That's been around forever, but only in the last generation or so do people actually take care of their mind.
I was gonna say, who's actually executing? Well, we know it, but are we executing it? Speaking of the mind over matter, do you ever go out there and you're just like, oh man, I'm going to be really high off the ground today? Does it ever scare you?
I'm really actually not bothered by being high off the ground, because we have a very clear system of how to make things work. So I actually know exactly what I'm doing to basically, like, for lack of better words, tree climb or do Pilates on a moving target.
Okay.
So I feel a lot of control actually in the lifts, even
so
to the
if something
point
goes wrong, you're prepared.
Even to the point that I help turn him if I see, like, something on the ceiling. If the ceiling is low, I can help turn him and spin him and stuff too. So we kind of have, like, our own system that we have just been doing for so long and trust. Yeah. So I'm not afraid of that. The only injury I've really ever had was a low lift, actually. Those are actually, in my opinion, more dangerous when the head is very close to the floor and you don't have a good reaction time. So, yeah.
I didn't even think about that. So obviously your professional career, lots of success, 9 times champion, all these things. But you've had a personal relationship. How long have you been married?
Ask that
About
guy.
15 years.
So about the same. You guys really, like, everything kind of happened at the same time.
Yeah, we were quick. We met in August of 2009. We were married December 2009. So it was a quick development. About 15 years later, she hasn't told me to take a hike yet. So.
And he's a keeper. He's the one to ask about the dates, because I actually don't remember all of them as good as he does.
Well, there you go. That's probably what keeps it working. You know what I mean? There's not all this, like, intensity. Is it hard, or does it help to have a personal relationship this long in the game? Do you get to a point where you're just like, oh my gosh, like, what are we doing here? Or are you guys, again, do you have a system for your personal relationship as well, that you're like, to make sure that you guys are continually bringing each other joy?
I think it's harder to be married couple, or I think it's a little easier in the beginning for people, and they're kind of in the first phase of everything. But yeah, being married for a long time, I think it's definitely harder, and to remember not to bring your work home with you, basically. So we've worked really hard though at trying to keep respect for each other. I think respect is key, and to be active listeners and not too much talking over each other. I mean, we are not perfect at it, but yeah.
But you're aware.
There's different challenges, I think, for both dynamics, whether you're married or not. But for us, I think our marriage is the more important of the two relationships. That what we have together is more important than the dancing. So if we had to choose between the two, we'd give up the dancing in a heartbeat. I hope she feels the same, but I'm dedicated to her no matter what. So
that's probably what's also kept it lasting as long as it has, is that you guys really set the priority.
Well, I also think we very much believe that marriage is a choice, and that any two people willing to work at it can and will make it work. But I do think often now kind of the idea that, it's like Cupid's arrow or something hits you and then, oh, I fell out of love.
Magic.
I think sometimes people fall into this trap a little bit, and so that's something we were both in agreement on when we met even, was that, okay, this is going to be hard at some point. Maybe it's not right now, but it will be, and you have to work at it, and you're not always going to, just magically be in love and without any work. So I think that it's unfortunately sometimes something nowadays that gets a little overlooked.
I think important to note, too, is that for us, our religious foundation is what we also base our marriage on. So our marriage is not just based, although good, on a commitment to each other. It's also based on this commitment to God, right? So for us, it's more than just, let's get together and... Right. It's eternal.
Yeah, the idea is that, even as much as I trust him, I know he's imperfect, he knows I'm imperfect, but we know, we have a trust more in God first, so we find God first, each other second, dancing third, and it works, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're pretty perfect on the floor, let me tell you. I don't see a lot of mistakes. With a couple as established and as yourselves, what the question always comes, kind of not what's next, but also what is there a goal that you have yet to accomplish that you're this is it,
Well, we just, it wasn't necessarily a huge goal of ours, but we just won the professional 9-dance title for the first time.
At USDC?
Yeah, at USDC. So that was definitely big for us. We've been in the final for the rhythm for a very long time now, but we've wanted to, at least be in that top 3. So we've come 4th. But that's what I was saying earlier, is we do have other goals and other styles too. Yeah.
I think it's more about, how much more can we develop and get out of our own dancing, more than it is an actual, I want to achieve that specific thing. It's more, how much more can we give? How much more can we create?
Continual evolution of growth through your...
to dance, right? There's always more to learn and develop.
Kind of addicted to learning, I guess.
I was going to say, there's this constant evolution of growth that you guys are kind of not chasing, but you're kind of on the ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, it is so wonderful to chat with you guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations on all of your success. Thank you for continually putting work in, because we know the work. Well, I don't know if everyone knows the work, but I know the work that you guys put in to constantly reinventing and making beautifully creative routines for us to just engage in. I mean, it's a feast for the eyes. It really is.
Thank you guys for watching and for supporting. We so appreciate it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, between my husband taking pictures and then your eyes are just laser focused, and then us just I always make the joke that, when I'm recording you guys for reels and something, I have to be ready to go up, right? because we're here at this level, and usually we're always dancing at this level, and I'm always ready when I feel the lift. I feel like I'm dancing with you guys when I'm recording you. It's just a beautiful, beautiful synergy that you guys have created in the room, and any time that I'm in a room where you guys are dancing, it is very often just silent in a way that people are just they don't know what to, you know what I mean? They want to clap, but they can't. We're gonna miss something, It's that kind of energy, and I think that is very hard to accomplish. I think you guys have been consistently doing that for many years, and I think that's the hardest thing. It's not doing it. You can do it one time. You work hard for it, yes, but the consistency that you guys have created over the last 15 years, I think, is the most impressive part for me. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Is there anything you would like to say to Gergana for this evening?
We just want to say thank you. We know how much hard work goes into putting together things like this. I think sometimes other people are kind of underappreciative of it, and I just know they spend so many sleepless nights working on it well before the event, and as soon as they're done, they're already working on the next one. So anyway, big shout out to them. Thank you guys for having us. They're wonderful people.
Thank you for allowing us to be a part of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here. We are just wrapping up this evening. It has been an incredible evening. Thank you so much, Gergana, for having all of us. And we will be back with more from Phoenix Fall Festival 2020.